So I've been trying a lot of different things out, and I think I've finally solidified a workflow that I'm happy with. Um, a few new tools that have definitely motivated the direction that I'm about to discuss very quickly. So for the mix stage, I'm usually, just to kind of give a little background before I start talking, I usually lately been mixing and mastering projects, both myself. Sometimes I'll recommend and send them off, but a lot of the times I've been doing all the way from tracking all the way through the final master. So this has inspired a bit of the way I have this set up as well that I'm about to go through. So first of all, for the mix side, I have everything basically in Pro Tools. This is a mastering session, so I can't show you what I'm talking about physically, but everything in Pro Tools, like a lot of the melodic instruments and things that I kind of mentally like to think about, compartmentalized, as far as their frequency spectrum, where they're occupying certain frequencies and energy and things like that. I'll generally group like that when it comes to instruments. And so, like, I'll have like the lead, the things that just take the precedence in the song, going to a separate fader pair. Then, like, synths and other melodic elements will go to another fader pair, which is subgrouped in Pro Tools. And then, some other pads and strings, which I think I'm going to move to this internally in Pro Tools. So they're all busing to this fader, so I can free this up for something else that I'll talk about in a second. And it depends on what I'm doing. This is for this particular project, but this will just be generalized to most everything, give or take. Vocals for this particular project. So the chorus vocals and the main verse vocals are going to their separate auxiliaries in Pro Tools to be treated separately. Then they're all coming out to this channel pair. And then the last channel fader, I have all of the effects sends, like the internal ones, the ones in the box, like EQs, delays, whatever I have on my auxiliaries for effects, are all returning here. I like to have separate control of those as one. And then also have the ad libs, so like a lot of rap vocals and rap songs will have like ad libs, and things with other genres will have like backing vocals will have, give or take. There's support vocals, just different things that are supporting the lead. Those are right now ganged with the effects, and so my logic was to take the pads and strings and move them over to my generalized melodic section, and then have the ad libs here, and then all of the effects by themselves here. That's what I'm going to do. Now that I just said it out loud, it makes a lot of sense. And what's really neat is on the inserts, all of these inserts, I have compressors. The first 12 channels are these 225Ls, and these are really, really great, amazingly great. I've actually never used them until I got them. And these are passed up for many reasons. I think the main one, they just didn't catch a lot of publicity and popularity, and when the new craze is out. And also they're in a 200 format, and the 500 format took off and left these in the dust, and so the general public's impression and perception of this probably waned as a result in comparison, when our interests are usually gravitated towards what has become popularized, because we assume that just because something became very popular that it must be the best. And there's something to it, give or take, but we won't go down that road right now. These are amazing. And I got a really, really crazy, amazing deal that I could not pass up for these. And now they're here, and 1 through 12 corresponds to 1 through 12 on the desk. 13 and 14, I have cross-patched as inserts to these 527s. So these 527s and the 550As on the desk are on the inserts for 13, 14. Then 15 and 16, I have the Zener on the inserts. And that's what I'm doing as far as Outboard. The 550As and the 550 or the 5500 are going to be inserted on 3 more pairs of these channels. Later, I actually ran out of patch cables. Well, I have 6 more, but they need to be resoldered. And I need to get my lazy ass up and resolder them, and also order more. So that is why that these are not patched. So my standard sort of MO is going to be just having all of these ready on the inserts, and then have all the EQs ready with them as well, just to engage on the fly and just sort of operate more like a console that is equipped with these. So I'm mixing through no conversion. I'm not listening to. Now I'm listening to the converters that are sending all the inserts and all of the information out in the outboard gear. But as far as like the program to mix that is being summed from this console, I'm not listening through DAs and then back through the ADs that I mix and print through, which I used to do, because I figured that I'm making decisions through them, which makes sense. And the reason I'm not now is I'm just mixing straight off the desk, and I've changed my philosophy to making decisions when listening to dynamics and the frequency spectrum and content of different things occurring without the converters doing their thing, especially these ones. There's a lot of harmonic content added with the Burl stuff. It still makes sense to mix through them, but the reason why I'm not is because I want to get everything about right just through the desk. And then when I'm done mixing, I print the mix at about -14 or so. And then I bounce it at 96K. So I mix at 48K. I usually track at 48K. And I'm bouncing and upsampling to 96, not because I think that upsampling and the interpolation, giving it more ones and zeros, etc., the DSP magic that occurs with that process is going to make it sound better. The reason I'm upsampling is so I have more information and a higher sample rate when in the mastering stage, which I'm about to talk about, I am hitting mostly outboard gear that has a certain sound and a harmonic structure that it generates by pushing transformers, etc. And so that's why I upsampled at 96K. And I move that mix to a mastering session at 96K. And I come in, I send this out of 1 and 2, which is really neat because these are being used for the master session. So I'm sending out of 1 and 2, which the sound of these are going to end up on the record. And it's really neat because I can engage this transformer in and out. Then I'm sending to the monitors out 3 and 4, which I don't have the transformer on because that's my monitor path. And I have a internal bus here. So I am having this bus to master look at the input of the Burl B2. So I'm sending out 1, 2, and the output of this is going to my outboard chain. And then the end of my outboard chain is going to Burl BN 1, 2. Then that's being bussed to the print track, which I have an optional, I'm monitoring the loudness with the U-lean. And the idea for the bus to master in between the stages is so I can print plugins if I need. So I have this Soothe, on standby. I'm not using it right now. I try my hardest not to use it, but it is a great plugin, and when I need it, I need it. But I use, I'm not using a lot of plugins, and I do use plugins on mastering sometimes, definitely in mixing. But I'm coming out, and you see that I'm monitoring out 3 and 4. Those are the Burl 3 and 4s that I just showed you. And in between, before it comes back in to the bus to master, it's first hitting the 2500, and it's nice because these are on hardwire bypass. So if I don't want to use it, I just simply have to do that, and it is out of the chain. But I am using it right now. Then it's going from there into the master bus processor by Rupert Neve Designs. This thing is killer, like really, truly killer. It's changed my world. That's another recent acquisition. And it is going from there to the backs. Then the output of the backs is going to the B2. Then I am monitoring through the transformerless BDA4M. Now along the way, there's a lot of gain staging. When I'm coming out of the channel 1, 2, I'm deciding if I want transformer on it or not. And I'm also sending out at a certain level from Pro Tools. And then I'm attenuating or boosting to the next stage, which in this case would be to the 2500. And then the biggest concern from that stage is how hard I'm hitting the input of the B2, because these also have input transformers. So I need to be mindful of how hard I'm hitting this on the input before I attenuate or boost it back into Pro Tools for the final print. Well, that is what I've converged on thus far, and I'm pretty dang happy with it. I'm basically at full utilization with the things that I've collected over the years, and now I finally feel like I'm moving into something that makes a lot of sense and that I enjoy working through as far as the workflow goes. All right, well, I got to get back to work. Later, guys.